So, the method of magic combines pretty much a conversational hypnosis technique with the information that we get in your human design chart. Your human design chart is a map of potential. It is not a rule book. It is not a thing that you have to follow. It's not dogmatic in any way. It really is about potential. And so, when somebody is experiencing an emotion, a fun, unique perspective that I have on emotions is that we cause our own emotions. And a good example of this is a rapid resolution therapy example. If you're familiar with RRT, let's say that you are on a safari and you see a lion come out of nowhere and it starts chasing this herd of zebras, and the zebras run really fast and there's a whole little chasey situation, and then somebody on the safari says, wow, that lion really put that fear of God into that zebra. And it's easy to assume that the lion puts the fear into the zebra, that the lion caused the emotion. But actually, the lion doesn't want the zebra to be fearful. Ideally, for the lion in their perfect world, the zebra would be pretty listless and kind of relaxed and not really alert. And they would just kind of lay there and roll over and be an easy dinner. The zebra used the zebra's body, saw and sensed different bits of information in its external reality, and it interpreted that data as threats, and it created an emotional response in the form of fear and adrenaline, and it gave that zebra the energy in an instant to get away safely. So the zebra caused the emotion. Things outside of us don't have the power to give us feelings, they are an inside job. And so when we are experiencing any sort of heightened emotion or any sort of dysregulation, we are solely responsible and we get to play with how we want to move that energy. All energy is in motion. It can't be created, it can't be destroyed. And emotions are a big surge of energy in your body. It's just energy that needs to be moved, and we can move it. Negative emotions, positive emotions aren't really a thing in my world. They're all just emotions and they can range in intensity. And so when the body is activated, I think my main goal today is to talk about shame and how we can move and alchemize shame. And so shame is an emotion where it could feel like we are feeling shame or somebody else is shaming us or we are ashamed of ourselves and it's coming from an external situation. It can feel like that sometimes, but really shame is an emotion and emotions are energy. Emotions give you the energy to take action and to get things done. And so if you have energy, you get to do things. And so shame is something that your body gives you because it's a useful emotion. It's really intense. It's a really high energy emotion. And I kind of see it like a sugary candy bar. So Halloween is coming, or Halloween was a little while ago, according to when this is going live. And so there's probably a lot of candy around the house. If anyone went trick or treating or you were offering candy out, you might still have a bunch of candy in your house. So there may have been a moment in the last week where you were hungry and there was a bowl of candy right there, and you just grabbed a little Snickers bar or you grabbed something quick to just stave off that hunger and to just give yourself something. And so when we're hungry, hunger is going to be, of course, that's an emotion, but sugar is something that's going to spike your blood sugar and then it's going to drop. So it's going to give you a whole bunch of energy really quickly, but then that energy also dies out very quickly. That battery drains very quickly as well. Something like a complex carb with some protein and some fiber is going to be something that's going to give you a mild level of energy that's sustainable. So things like joy, satisfaction, peace, success, surprise, things like that are sustainable emotions. Things like anger, frustration, bitterness, disappointment, or shame are emotions that spike your energy. They give you a surge of energy. These are emergency level emotions. I think it's really, really cool that your body can like think of something embarrassing that you did 2 years ago, and in an instant, you have a surge of energy. So your body is giving you emotions for a reason. Your body is giving you these emotions for energy. And so shame is the one that I really wanted to focus on today because it's one of the ones that I've just been playing with and alchemizing in lots of different ways, and I'm kind of obsessed with shame right now. So we're gonna we're gonna talk about shame. When shame is hello, how you
I
doing?
was like, I can. You don't have to fill the space anymore. If you don't need to, I can leave. Because I'm like, my nose was like dripping, and I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to do this while like people can see snot visibly coming down my nostrils. But
I get it.
I cleaned my nose,
Okay.
so I'm ready to
Yeah.
be your guinea pig.
Perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, shame is a high level emotion, and our body gives it to us when we need energy. And so it's really just energy. And so it's just a mental story. It's so fun. So shame says, I should have already done something.
Hmm.
Oh, I should have gotten that thing done yesterday. I should have responded to them. It's either should or shouldn't have.
I was gonna say it almost sounds a little bit like guilt.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Hmm.
Guilt is more related to like the action. Shame is like, I am bad for doing that. That's
Oh,
how
it's
we
like almost like a
differentiate the two.
self-labeling kind of.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so I feel guilty for my actions. I feel ashamed of who I am. I can't believe
Oh.
I'm the kind of person who would do something like that. So yeah, guilt and shame are very similar. It's like directing it at the behavior or just at your identity.
I was like, yeah, like self-inflicted versus like action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
it's almost like with guilt, there's still a separation of like your identity is still a little bit higher. Like I don't see myself as being somebody who would do that. I feel guilty for like stepping down, for changing my morals, for doing something out of character. And guilt is essentially, if we're thinking about like polyvagal theory, guilt is where you're in a shame. Shame is a functional freeze. So guilt is like, oh God, I reacted too quickly. I was angry. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. It's still like a heightened emotion. But when
Got
that
it.
emotion is too high, like chronic stress, functional freeze, you'll feel like, okay, I've done so many things that I'm guilty of that like I'm just it's me. I'm the problem. It's not the thing. And so the identity kind of like dwindles with it. So yeah, guilt and shame are
Mm.
very similar, and it's just a little bit different like activation in the nervous system because guilt, it still has a little bit of like I want to run away from it, I want
Yeah.
to like fix it. It still has a little bit of like active energy, so we're still in a
Hmm.
sympathetic nervous system response, versus shame will actually be that like dorsal vagal response, which is like shut down because at that point,
Oh.
like the physiology is different too. Of guilt, it's like,
Mhm.
oh no, I shouldn't have done that. But it's almost this like leaning forward of like, I'm sorry I did that. That's not
Mm.
me. Versus shame, it's like you're literally just collapsing and hiding into your
Yeah.
body. You're like, I don't want to be me anymore.
Ooh,
It's like, yeah.
yeah.
So they're similar
Mhm.
emotionally, and it's really just like the level of intensity and where the mind is like directing it,
Ah.
and like
Mhm.
what story you're making of it. But they're all really intense energy that is looking at identity and it's looking at actions, but they're both looking at something in the past. And so
Interesting.
yeah,
Yes, it's true. You're not shame. I mean, yeah, I'm like trying to think. Would you ever do it in a future sense? No, but it's related to a
yeah,
thing that you didn't do in the past or wasn't someone you wish you were in the past. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, you're not like,
Mhm.
I'm ashamed that I'm not going to post on Instagram tomorrow.
Yeah, but it doesn't
You
work.
got it.
Yeah, I'm like it doesn't work in a future sense, does it?
No, it's related to the past. And
Hmm.
so when we are ashamed of things, it can be detrimental, but it can also put us in a space of stuckness because all of our attention is looking at something and our mind is giving us this emotion. So the mind says, this thing that happened was important. And so now we're directing mental energy. And then the body says, okay, importance equals life or death. Here is your emotional emergency kit. Here's shame. So you need energy right now. Here is shame. And so what's happening is the body is physiologically responding to a threat that doesn't exist
True.
because the
Hmm.
thing that you're ashamed of happened yesterday or the day before or a week ago or a year ago or whatever. And so the body is trying to respond. It's saying, here's energy to take action on that thing that already happened. And so you get
Mhm.
in this like back and forth space because the emotions are being created in response to something that doesn't exist. And so I've been playing with the mindset switch of, is the threat in the room with us right now? Like just asking myself that, like, is the threat in the room with us right now? Because a regulated nervous system will respond to appropriate threats. If you are a regulated person, all of a sudden you get a creepy feeling while you were in a crowd, you leave. That's a good thing to do. That's
Mhm.
amazing. A dysregulated nervous system will respond to things that aren't actually real. And so, all signs of sickness, it's either focusing your attention on like, I shouldn't have done that thing. If I hadn't have done that thing, then right now would be different. And in that moment, what's happening is the body is creating energy to take action, but the mind doesn't know where to focus it because the mind is trying to
Mm,
solve a problem that already happened. So it's just
mm,
rewriting different, like, what if I did something different yesterday? And so in that moment, what we can do is we can take a step back and we can come back to the present moment and realize what's actually happening. What's
mhm.
actually happening is right here, right now, your body gave you the energy to get a task done, and your
Right.
mind is interested on a certain situation. And
Mhm.
so you can't change it already. It already happened. And so right now is the next best option. So, can you do something about it right now? If you have the capacity, then that shame and that guilt or that emotion that you're feeling, however intense it is, it's energy and you can use it as energy. There's times where I've been hungry and I've just like had a Snickers bar or had a candy bar really quickly or something like that. Yeah, I'm not going to do it every single day. I'm not going to run on Hershey's. It might be fun, but like,
I was like, that should be a shirt Eden wears sometimes as a joke. I run on Hershey's bars.
I run on Hershey's.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. The original quote.
Right? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Keep going. I'm a sugar
You
fiend.
can run
So,
on, oh,
mhm.
me too. I love my sugar. We can run on those, but they will lead to crashes. And
Right, of
so what
course.
we want to do is cool. In the moment, if you're experiencing shame, awesome. You can recognize and you can step back and we can alchemize it. And so that's what we just did was saying, oh, wow, okay, I'm feeling shame.
I was
Shame
gonna say
is
that's something
energy
people
in
get
motion.
shameful about all the time about like their eating habits, right? Like there's
Mm,
shame where I'm like, man, I am like a hummingbird. Like this is like diabetes waiting to happen. Like, yeah, there's a lot of shame around like I carry around this identity and it's not
mhm.
necessarily good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. The dieting industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they've done a great job of convincing a lot of people that we can't trust our own urges. But humans have been feeding themselves and staying alive literally since the beginning of humankind without courses, without diet plans, without doctors, without counting macros. And so we know from an energetic perspective, every single human needs different nutrients at different times. And we all, like on a daily basis, it's going to change. And
Mhm.
so the dieting world has kind of convinced us that there's this perfect daily meal plan that if we can stick to it and follow it forever, over and over and over and over and over again, that we'll achieve perfect health. And in reality, our bodies are always fluctuating.
Yeah.
Everything in your body is fluctuating. Your hydration levels are a range. Your sodium levels are a range. It's never, your temperature is a range. Your body is hardly ever exactly at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Like every single second of the day, it fluctuates in response. And so your body is going to send you cravings for different things. Sometimes I am so picky and I have allowed myself to just say that. I used to say, "Oh, like I'm gluten free, but I can like as long as it's gluten free, I'm fine." No, I'm picky and not just picky like in there's certain foods I don't eat. I'm seasonal. Like eggs in me have this love-hate relationship where I can eat them consistently and I want like egg salad sandwich and I want like fried eggs on I want them everywhere. And then there's other days where even just the thought of it like makes me queasy. And so I'm the same with everything. I just recently got out of a like no pasta phase. And like I couldn't touch pasta. It was the texture, it was like everything about it. I'm like, pasta is the most disgusting thing in the entire world. There's been phases of my life where like I'm like, I want the entire thing of pasta to myself right now, and I'm not sharing. And so your body is going to tell you like it's going to need different things in different days. And so when the mind comes in and starts trying to figure out every ultimate solution, it's trying to figure out like the what is the ultimate diet plan and what is every nutrient that I'm ever going to need ever and how can I do that perfectly? If you're trying to solve this universal giant unsolvable problem, every single time the question of what are you hungry for right now comes up, you're also not present in the moment. And so that's another sign of stuckness. You're responding to something that doesn't exist. There isn't a perfect diet plan that you're going to be able to follow absolutely every single day of your life. Because one of those days you're going to be on a vacation and you're going to go on like a super long hike or something and you're going to feel starving afterwards and you're going to need to eat more. And then there might be a day where you're just kind of meh and you just need to like rest and you're not really feeling well and you need to have some extra sleep and some extra hydration, but you're just not hungry. And there's going to be days where you're at a fancy restaurant, you're celebrating something, and you are going to eat more than you need in that moment because it's just so good. And then
Mm-hmm.
the next morning, you might feel a little bit off, but you'll give your body what you need in that moment when that happens. And that doesn't mean that you did something wrong by eating that extra bite of cheesecake. You enjoyed yourself. And now your body is saying, I want some water. I want some green juice. I want some of this next. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, there isn't an ultimate answer. And so, like,
It's gonna be
shame
like that
is,
shame bit with food was like,
yeah,
"Mwah, chef's kiss." It needs to be
thank you.
like everywhere.
Yeah, they've done a great job of convincing us that we can't trust ourselves, but you can, and your body is way smarter than you think it is. I think about childbirth. Like, if your body, like you as a person who has had a child, your body can literally build an entire second human just like on the back burner while you're still existing and living. Like, if we can trust it to do that, we can trust it to say, I'm hungry, and we can trust it to say, yeah, the chocolate's a good idea right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I never even thought about that. It is true. It is happening in the background, right? It's like a Windows update, right? You're still using
It's
your
on
computer.
autopilot.
I mean, yeah, there's some more naps involved, but yeah,
Right.
it's not like you're completely helpless while it's going
Mm-mm.
on. Oh my gosh,
Like,
that's
life goes on. Your body still does everything else.
hmm
And then on top of that, without like checking in and being like, hey, I need you to do this like that much, it just builds an entire human. And then, yeah,
that's
if we can
wild.
trust it to do that, and also like breastfeeding, mothers' bodies will literally respond and create different chemicals in their breast milk based off of their children's needs.
I
If your
That's why
body
I
can do
nursed for
that,
that long.
yeah, if your body
Yeah,
can do
it's
that,
bespoke.
you can
It
trust.
interacts with the saliva.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
completely not what we were supposed to be talking about. We have gone into tangent land again. Sorry,
Yes.
folks. Wait, was this the demo? Was this like you like
Yeah, this
mind
kind of
ninjaing?
was the demo. Well, we were talking about shame, and so we talked about it specifically with food, and that was a great example. So, I mean, I was
Holy,
definitely
okay.
using rapid resolution therapy there.
I was gonna say, like, for anyone who was like, are they gonna get into that thing? It was the thing. Like,
Mhm.
is your mind like broken yet? Like, I'm like, oh my god, she just walked me through this thing now, and I'm like, yeah, oh my gosh, you are a magician, truly.
Thank you.
That was incredible. I'm like, wait a minute,
So it's
I
called
feel different.
conversational hypnosis.
Oh, see, now I know why
Yeah.
you needed a person. It would be kind of like wacky if you,
Like, you've done messy, so I can like do
but
it
this
if
is
I have
better.
something to respond to. But yeah,
No,
you
no,
said, well, here's a specific example. I said, yes.
no, no, no.
People can visualize that. Perfect.
This is way better.